from a client side of things, I know that I'm an agency, so doing the reverse for other clients, I just felt like it was just like a top tier experience from top to bottom when it comes to onboarding, and just feeling like someone was always available, ready. You guys have a bunch of team members who are great at what they do, so feeling like I was taken care of from top to bottom and all things that I needed.
So we are here with Jeffrey Park from Daydreamers Design. Jeff, if you want to like give everybody an intro about what you do, and then first, like, well, I'd love to hear the initial problem you were having in your business that caused you to reach out or explore working with us. So, yeah, the floor is yours. Take it away.
What's going on, guys? Glad to be here. Super grateful for you guys. So I'm Jeff from Daydreamers. We're a CRO landing page agency for e-com, Shopify e-com brands. We help brands with page builds, testing, and all that. So a little backstory on prior to working with Tony and Ryan. Not gonna lie, like my operations were absolutely tanked. Like it's a complete shit show. The overall process, the workflow was not streamlined. It wasn't optimized. Like we didn't have a solid system in place, but also just like a repeatable like project management system where we had like a database to organize and manage all the projects. So at the time that we first started, it was mainly one-off projects where we're just constantly pumping out pages for brands. And at one point we would be working with like 15, 20, 25 brands at one time. So as you can imagine, there's just a lot going on at once. And what we did prior to working with OpsKings was literally just inside Slack, we would have like the little canvas or the note section on the sidebar in Slack, and we would just manage all our projects there. It was super hectic. It was stressful as fuck. So just being able to have a solid partner with Ryan and Tony just to help us with the back end stuff, just to keep things more organized, and honestly just for like mental clarity was like probably like another big thing of just feeling like we can see everything going on from like a bird's eye view and not having to feel so stressed and constantly feeling like there's a lot going on. Because if you can kind of put it on paper and kind of have like a robust like interface or just like a screen that kind of displays everything going on, that's like one of the things that like helped us kind of clear like bandwidth and kind of feeling like we are able to like progress and kind of like move through everything. So like it's kind of just like a quick rundown of like where I was, and then kind of like the main thing that I truly I got and like benefited from you guys.
Yeah, actually, I would love. So at the time, I remember we chatted in Tampa just less than a year ago, and at the time, you were considering hiring somebody else, and you decided to hire us instead.
Yep.
What was the reason you went with us specifically to help you with this problem versus anybody else in the world?
The main thing, and this is going to be such like a simple answer, but it was having two dogs to work with, like Tony on the operations side and Ryan automations and just like the tech side of things. Like just being able to work with two people who were absolute experts in their respective fields, and both kind of pillars kind of coincide. I just believed after talking to both options, I just felt like you guys were able to kind of bridge the two things that were necessary for me at the time when it comes to having someone to talk to and kind of simplify all the stuff that's in my head, with Tony kind of just breaking down like the basic operation side of things, where I just felt like there was a lot going on, and having someone to kind of just streamline that and feeling like it wasn't as like complicated or crazy or anything like that. It's kind of having peace of mind there. And then of course Ryan on the side of like the actual tech side of things of actually manifesting everything that Ryan laid out. I mean Tony laid out. Ryan was able to kind of like bring that to life and actually have something robust and kind of brought everything that I was thinking in my head, something I knew I needed to kind of install and implement within my systems. Ryan was able to kind of do that. So to answer your question, I know this is like a me rambling, whatever, but it's just having just two absolute dogs who were experts in both their respective fields. I just felt like that was like a no brainer for me. So That's my answer there.
Cool.
You obviously work with more people than just me and Ryan. How was the rest of the team in the process of working with OpsKings?
Yeah, so I think um as I talked to and worked with a bunch of people within your team. Steven was my main point of contact. He was like my main manager who helped me with everything there. Like Steven's an absolute dog. Like the fact that you guys have him on your team is an absolute plus for you guys, but also for your clients being able to work with him. There's a bunch of people, but just from top to bottom, I just think you guys are so on point, and obviously makes sense. You guys do operations and stuff, so like just from a client side of things, I know that I'm an agency, so doing the reverse for other clients, I just felt like it was just like a top tier experience from top to bottom when it comes to onboarding and just feeling like someone was always available, ready. You guys have a bunch of team members who are great at what they do, so feeling like I was taken care of from top to bottom and all things that I needed.
Cool. And another thing I wanted to ask is, you worked with us for, I think it was like a few months and then stopped and then decided to come back.
Mm-hmm.
What was it that made you decide to come back the second time? What was going through your head? Because, some people start, they're good. And then you were still working with them. Some people, they don't really like jive with what we do. But you decided to come back. What was it about that process? Like what was happening in your head right before you decided to reach out again?
Yeah. So I think that was the time when that was the time when we spoke at Tampa, the CA conference.
Well, no, that was the initial time. Tampa was the first time. You
really?
Yeah.
Oh shit! It was. Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, you came back. And okay, so I'll jog your memory because Tony, I think, told me something about your conversation that I thought was really interesting. You said like you kind of like didn't get it the first time around, or like didn't like understand like the true system we'd put in, and there was something about this your psychology as you got a couple more months of business under your belt that like you realized something. So I'd love for you to share that.
Yeah. So I think for me prior or the first thing that we have, I was under the impression that I didn't need Airtable. Like we could just continue using Slack as our main project management system or source, whatever. I just felt like, not gonna lie, I felt like I didn't really need something as robust as what you guys were building me. I think it was me just being ignorant, naive, and feeling like I'm trying to run like a small like 50K a month agency. I'm not trying to run it up to like, how some people are trying to build up like 500K million. So I was like thinking like, because that's not me, I don't need anything like that. But again, like that's just me being naive to the fact of what that would have let me or helped me do as far as from like a management standpoint, being more organized and more streamlined when it comes to operations and being able to take on more clients. So I think that's what the main difference was, of just me being ignorant to the fact that I didn't feel like it was absolutely necessary. Then coming back to me having more clients and me working with more brands at once, I didn't really have a choice but to kind of reach back and be like, yo guys, like my operations are even more fucked than before. So I just like need help from scratch again, So to answer your question, I think at first it was me just being ignorant, and I think this applies to a lot of people who might be watching this video, of feeling like your operations are fine and what you're doing is completely okay, and easily could be, but I would say just to kind of rethink, like, is what you're doing now going to take you to where you want to go? And a lot of times when it comes to operations for an agency, like the answer is probably no. So just having someone to help you in areas that you didn't even look to or consider to look at or focus on is, I think, super valuable. So that's kind of like where you guys come in. That's kind of what coincided or tied into me feeling like I had no choice but to come back to you guys and be like, help me, please, like, so I just think that's the bottom line for me.
Cool. It's not like, I don't know if it's kind of reading between the lines here. It sounds like you were kind of like assuming you would always have just a $50K a month agency and you're like, oh, I'm good here. And then
Yeah.
you kind of realize like, no, I actually do want to make a lot. Like you realize after working with us the first time, you're like, actually, now that I think about it, I actually do want to make a lot more money.
Yeah, because I think when working with you guys, it opens up the possibility of, oh shit, we're not even touching what we could be, because things open up from like a mental standpoint of just having more clarity, of not being so stressed out, constantly having to think about what we have on a daily or weekly basis. Kind of clearing that up, so I'm able to think more clearly and kind of see all our clients and projects from like a bird's eye, like a macro point of view of not being so stressed out. I think that allowed to feeling like, oh shit, like being at 30, 50K, whatever is cool, but there's so much more that we can do with what we have, So
yeah,
I think
50K is cool, but what's really cool is a billion, like Sean Parker, $1 billion. Yeah.
$1 billion. Yeah.
$1 billion. Yeah. That's where you're heading to, $1 billion valuation. I'm going to stop quoting movies now. Tony, I'm sure you have some follow-up questions.
I'm curious. What did you feel like was the biggest relief out of all the things we built? What was the one singular thing that you now like the most about your project management and sort of internal systems that's helping you day to day that you're using the most often?
Not gonna lie, this might be like a different answer, but me not having to constantly communicate to my team about what we have going on. So like being able to be more, not automated, from a project management standpoint, but like having my team is the one who uses the Airtable more than I do. Cause like they're completely ingrained, or Airtable is completely ingrained in our current workflow and our process. So kind of me feeling like, and this comes back to what I said before, of just kind of having more mental space and clarity, or like just freedom from that. Right now where we're at, my team is able to just kind of just see Airtable and kind of know what they have to do, rather than looking to me or for my ops manager to kind of like ask them and kind of keep pinging us for questions on what they have to do and what the next project is and the specific deliverables and all that. So I think, I mean, the same answer is the Airtable, but because of what that allowed me to do, of feeling like I can focus on the other things, like the marketing, the content, the sales side of things, and not have it to be so in the day to day of the daily operations. And again, like that, it's gonna allow me to kind of move through like the next phases of where I'm trying to get to. So I think it's just
that's okay. Wait. I'm going to pause you there. That's super interesting. You said like, oh, this might be an unusual answer, and that almost makes me like, it's almost like your assumption before was that you would always have to keep telling your team exactly what to do.
Yeah.
And that there was like never, it was not even like remotely possible that they could self-manage with a tool. Exactly. Whereas that's like our like working assumption. That's like, oh yeah, we just have to get you to that. Like that's like the first milestone.
Yeah.
Is, oh, obvious. Like we're working on the assumption that everything is obvious. So what, if you could, is that true, by the way? Like, is that like a fair read on the, like you just assume that like you would always have to kind of micromanage people and like tell them what to do every step of the way? Completely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. It's the visibility behind just the project management, just people having actual visibility of what are they responsible for, what needs to get done, and having that entire system be self-managed. That's like a short answer that you answered.
Yeah, they just see like, oh, I have to do these 3 landing page designs today. I click on this one because it's at the top, and it's at the top because it's due first, and I see like who the client is and the client's website and the client's like brand style book or whatever, and I have comments here from the copywriter, and I can just like comment on stuff and push a button and it goes forward. And then it's interesting. Like I actually think that your insight is really, really interesting. And it probably means there's a lot of business owners out there that are assuming that like operations means just telling people again and again what to do, right? Versus them not having to do that and having their team. It's a weird feeling though. I will say, like, I experienced this too. We hired our first developers about a year ago, and now I'm even more hands off. And it's a weird feeling. Like there's like things happening in the business that I don't even know are happening. Like someone will share something, I was like, holy shit, that's like that looks really good. And I had nothing to do with any of it. Not the design, not haven't talked to the client, but like it's awesome work and the client's pumped. And I'm like, okay, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
So it's a good feeling. It's a very like it's a kind of a weird feeling in a sense, but it's a very good. It's a good feeling because then you know your business is sustainable. You like
Absolutely.
plug in more people, plug in more customers, and you're good to go.
Yeah, I think for me it was kind of making that shift from like being like that freelancer type of role to like actually an agency owner. Because for me, prior to this agency, I was freelancing for years pretty much, and I've always had the mentality of doing everything myself, right? Like from fulfillment or just even sales, the marketing, for the fulfillment, operations and client communication, all that. So like it's just that cliche answer of like when you're an owner, you have to work on the business, not in it. And I think operations is the first thing or the first bottleneck for all, or not for all, but most agency owners in our space. Of most of them are in the weeds of like actually doing fulfillment, and I'm trying to get results. So I think that's like always going to be like the first thing to kind of take off your plate, and then of course like all things that coincide. So like, that's kind of why having like a solid project management tool like Airtable just to kind of help simply just manage that and kind of clear up mental space for just for you to be able to think of your next moves and how can I grow this and kind of take this. And of course there's other things to like focus, like work, like not worry about, but like get better at, improve upon, and figure out, like as far as like just like being a better manager, um, being a better leader, and kind of being able to create like trainings and kind of like teaching all that. That all kind of plays a role. But I think for the people watching who are kind of on the fence of I'm probably stuck at like the 15, 20, 25 mark or K mark per month and feeling like what is like the next move for me. And my answer is always going to be to kind of free up your time with better operations and kind of something to help you manage it all, to give you the the space to work on the bigger things that you're probably not accustomed to working on because you've always just been focused on the actual fulfillment. So it's kind of like been my biggest struggle these past few months of not thinking like another freelancer, actually thinking like a business owner who is meant to manage people and kind of not be in the ground level of just doing all the fulfillment yourself. So I think like that was like a big limiting belief for me prior to working with you guys, and kind of seeing how that kind of manifested of me feeling like, oh shit, like we aren't even touching the surface because it was me doing everything. But now that I have a team and like a solid PM to help guide everything, streamline everything, um, pretty much is like the foundation of where everything else can be built upon it and kind of like stem towards. So yeah.
There we go. You pretty much
That's
said
it.
everything.
That's
That
the
was a beautiful
yeah,
that
yeah,
was a
yeah, yeah.
beautiful monologue.
Mhm.
For anyone thinking about working with us, not working with us, thinking about booking a call, anything you'd like to say to the people?
Yeah, just hit up Tony up or Ryan and just work with them like for a few months and see how they're gonna improve your agency. For the I'm not sure what your ICP is because I know you guys work with a bunch of big motherfuckers, but if you are like stuck at like that 20-30 mark and you feel like you you are able to grow but you don't know what it is or like what's stopping you, I just think you should just hop on a call with Tony Ryan, and at least they'll give you kind of just like a map of like where you should be going or doing, and then from there you can start ripping. But I know I'm fucking rambling at this point, but the short answer is you should book a call with Tony and Ryan, just like see what they can do, kind of like run through what your operations is like, and Tony will kind of just rip through everything, kind of streamline all that for you, and make it simple, and kind of just give you that clarity. So yeah,
There we
hit
go.
them up and work with them. That's it.
There we go. Appreciate it,
Cool.
Jeff. That's
Thanks,
Appreciate
Jeff.
it.
that's
Yep.
that's the interview.